By the end of this video, you'll know exactly why you're not signing clients on Upwork and how to fix that. You see, last week I was on a coaching call with a member of my paid Upwork community, and I showed him exactly how to identify any problem in his Upwork account and how to solve it to start signing more clients. And I've never released a call like this for my paid community, but it's incredibly valuable, and so I wanted you guys to be able to watch it.
So if you go to Upwork, in the top left-hand corner, and you click on Find Work, and then you click on Proposals and Offers, you'll be able to see all of the proposals you submitted just listed out. And on the right-hand side, there'll be a little thing that says like Proposal Viewed. And so I would encourage you to go in there like once every probably 2 weeks, once every week or two, and then just simply record into a spreadsheet how many proposals got viewed. And so as a quick side note, if you go to the KPI module inside this community, there's a tracking sheet that has all the KPIs you should be tracking. And so you can just download that and copy it for yourself. So the main KPIs, like we just said, are how many proposals that you submit are getting viewed, how many of the proposals that get viewed are sending you a message, how many of those messages are booking calls, and then obviously how many of those calls are turning into clients. And if you really want to take it an extra step, you could say like how many what's the average order value or average, client LTV of the people who are hiring you, right? So like if your average client pays you, let's just say $1,000 a month and they stay with you for 4 months, then your customer LTV is $4,000, right? So that's an extra step. It's not necessary at all. And it's a little outside the scope of this post. But those are the KPIs that you should be tracking. And so if you start tracking those, and then you see that maybe you're submitting, 100 proposals and only like 20 of them are getting viewed, then we know that the problem and the bottleneck is going to be with the first 225 characters of your proposal because of Upwork's recent update. And so then we can focus on optimizing that. And so basically there's 2 things that you need to do if that's the problem, right? If you're not getting enough views, it would be include more social proof. So that could be, you have a lot of it. You're Upwork top rated. You have tons of clients on Upwork. Like you have a lot of social proof. So just finding a way to include it in that little preview. The other thing would be personalization. So those are the 2 big things. The third thing is boosting your proposals. That will also help them get more views. So focus on those 2 or 3 things. If the percentage of proposals that you submit that get viewed is less than 40%. Now, if you're above or at or very close to 40%, you can move on to the next one because that will likely not be the bottleneck. It's a good question. I would say in the first 225 characters, especially now that it's like very, very short and condensed, I would say focus on personalization because that's very important. And then you probably only have room for like 2 sentences. Maybe 3, but probably like 2 sentences. So the first sentence is probably going to be personalized. It's probably going to be something like, hey, first name, I'm confident I can help you. And then like just talking about what they requested in their job post. And then the second sentence, I would say that if you want to personalize that as well, that would be fine. So like for you, let's just say the job is, looking for help with a UX UI design. You could say in that second sentence, based on my 10, I'm just making this up, right? But like based on my 10 years of experience and being Upwork top rated plus, I have completed 100 UX UI design projects on Upwork and I'm confident I can help you too, right? So like I would say kind of mixing the social proof with the personalization is going to help a lot. So I don't know if I would necessarily reference like specific things you guys have done in your profile in that first 225 characters. I would probably stick to like social proof, personalization, and then kind of combining them. Yep. So there's, as a side note, there's a boosting strategy module inside the community. And it's simpler, I think, than a lot of people think it is. But basically, we just want to boost as many proposals as we can while staying under 24 or 25 connects. Because especially if we're applying to these jobs like consistently throughout the day. So like I know a guy and they do like $180,000 per year from Upwork. And they have an employee log into Upwork 3 times per day and submit proposals. So he does like 8 a.m., noon, and like 5 p.m., right? And so like as soon as new jobs get put out, like bam, they're applying to it like right away. And so that basically means that they don't need to boost as much because there's going to be like more time, as in hours, where they are showing up very high because there's not that many freelancers who have applied to it or agencies. And so I would say there's a couple things. Number one, going through the boosting module, because that'll show you kind of how to boost and our strategies for that. As well as, if you can, just trying to apply to jobs at a couple different spots in the day. Those would be the two big things. The other, I guess, if I had to add a third, it's kind of similar to the boosting strategies, but like don't waste connects, because a lot of people do this. It's crazy to me, is they'll see a job and maybe the top person on the leaderboard has bid 25 connects, and they'll go and they'll bid 75 connects, right? They'll boost their proposal a lot. And that is completely a waste of connects. Like if they had just bid or boosted 27 connects versus 75, it would be the same difference. They would still be showing up number one on that leaderboard, right? And so like just making like it makes no difference, right? And it drives me crazy because I see a lot of people who do it, and it's just a waste of money. So those would be
I also see more than 100 connects wasted for the boost.
It's crazy. I've seen that too. I saw one the other day. It was like 250, and I was like, that is crazy, man. It just makes no sense at all. Yeah, wild stuff. Cool. And so let's see here. That's right. So if you start tracking this data and you are above 40%, so like you have more than 40% of the proposals that you submit get viewed, then you can move on to the next one, which is analyzing how many of those proposals that you submit are sending you a message. And this should be at least 1 out of 10. Now, if it's less than that, there's one of two things. It's the rest of your proposal after the first 225 characters, or it's your profile. Now, your Upwork Top Rated Plus, you've done very well on Upwork. It's probably not going to be your profile. I mean, I'm happy to take a look at that, but my guess is that it's going to be the rest of your proposal. And so as a side note, we have modules on both of those things as well in here. And so you can dive into that. I think that will really solve this if you start tracking and this is the issue. The third thing is simply appointment setting, which is like how many people who send you a message are willing to book calls with you. This should be at 30%. If it's less than that, there's really not, it's a very simple solution. What's most likely happening is you're booking calls too far out in the future, or more likely is you're not pushing for the call, enough. And so again, there's a full module on appointment setting inside here. I think that'll be useful for you. Basically, it just there's like 2 types of messages you'll get from clients. Number one, them literally just asking to get on a call with you if you structure the call to action correctly. And again, that's in the proposal module. Or the second kind of type of response you'll get is them asking questions, right? They'll respond to your proposal with a couple questions at least. Sometimes they go crazy and ask a bunch of questions. The strategy for responding to that is basically you want to give them an answer because you don't want to piss them off. So you want to give them an answer, but you want to make it clear that to give them a more specific answer, you would need to get on a call with them. And so the way I like to do this is, and again, more details inside the module, but just quickly covering it. If someone responds to my proposal and they say, hey, Nico, looks great. How much do you charge? I would say, hey, Mr. Client, thanks so much for your response. For paid advertisements, I charge between $1,000 and $2,000 per month, depending on the ad spend of my client, the industry of my client, the type of ads they want to run, or whatever else, right? And then I would say, to give you a more accurate quote, I would need to get on a call with you. Do you have 15 minutes that you're free anytime this week? So it's like very casual, very relaxed. You gave them an answer, but you're just telling them that to give them a more accurate answer, you'll need to get on a call with them. And most times I've found that after that, people are willing to get on a call. And obviously, if they're not willing to get on a call, then they probably weren't going to buy from you anyway, because the price is probably too much for them. So it's kind of a nice kind of way to like filter out bad calls and still get good calls. So that would be appointment setting. And then we got somebody else coming in here. So that would be appointment setting. And then step 4 is basically how many people are buying from you. And this is actually not as complicated, I think, as a lot of people make it as well. People make this so complicated. It's not. Upwork sales calls are very easy because people know they already know they need your service, right? These people are reaching out to you guys. They've already posted the job. They've already messaged you. They've checked out your profile. They've checked out your proposal. And so they're very warmed up to you. So mostly what I've found Upwork sales calls consist of is simply just developing a lot of rapport. So like spend 5 or 10 minutes at the beginning, getting to know them, who they are, where they're from, what their interests are, try and connect with them, get good at small talk. And then after that, it's very casual. So like, I don't really do any high pressure closing or anything like that. I'm really just like making sure I understand their needs correctly. Like if I'm offering web design, I'm confirming the type of website they want, the different stuff they want, whatever else, right? I don't do web design, so I don't know the specifics there. But basically you're just confirming all the details. And then after that, you confirm on the price and then you go for the close. And there's a separate module in here about Upwork sales, but I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it because it's a lot simpler than people make it. Like these people, they need your service. They know they need your service. Like they don't need to be educated. They don't need to be convinced. Like they're extremely warm leads, especially if you compare it to like I've booked calls using cold emails, cold DMs, cold calls, cold looms, like pretty much every form of cold outreach. And meetings that come from Upwork are always by far the best and the easiest because they already know they need your service, right? So that would be the last kind of step to start measuring. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's all I've got for this little walkthrough. But the first step for you is I would just say, get the KPI tracking sheet in the KPI module and then start tracking your data because once you do track your data, you're going to be able to make accurate decisions.